I came to Alaska and fished on the Mulchatna and experienced what the king is all about, that was a whole nother level of power. What a perfect name for it, the king.
Ma, you make it look so easy.
The main thing is we're all coming together and we're doing something very special.
When you spend enough time in nature and in wilderness, you get to form this connection with it. There's actually, right now, the federal government's actually thinking about putting king salmon on the endangered species list.
Pollock unfortunately live in the same thermocline in the wintertime as the king does.
To just see how much it's changed in 25 years, I don't know if I want to use the word alarming, but it's certainly very easy to see.
We are so misrepresented for the sport fishermen, and the voice for the king is so lacking, it's sad.
This is the legit king, you don't want to reel it in? Bubba, you're gonna get one of these yet.
There it is!
Me and Melissa went to the board.
And it worked.
Sport fishing. And it did. 5-1 they voted.
They had no idea.
We're so lucky. There's such a small group of people that come out and experience a place like this.
And being honest with you, I didn't think I was going to come back to Alaska again. But things changed a lot for us last August when we heard John was diagnosed with cancer.
Of all the places in the world that a group like this could come together and do what we're talking about, this spot was the spot that would be most meaningful to him.
I had a meeting and I'm going to have to fly out to have some scans done.
We are the only people in this world who will have an intimate knowledge and memory of these last several days.
I've had some people in the industry tell me that you got 3 months to 2 years to 20 years.
You know, he's had such an effect on so many people.
The news about John's been a really, really big part of my life, and
Yeah, he's one of the greatest men I ever met in my life, hands down.
Well, it was a powerful week last week, and if I was ever built up, I was built up.
The Lord encourages us to pray without ceasing. And I encourage all of us to pray without ceasing for this man's health, for his well-being, for his wife and his daughter.
John Carlin,
Where are you from?
Minnesota.
How long you been here?
Couple years, couple tours on the Mulchatna. Those times where the world was wide open, and this whole experience taught me and showed me that, you know, special things come with hard work. The whole Alaska, just the being able to see the moose and see a bear and have these fish running up this beautiful river all to ourselves. I just love the big fish attack. But when I came to Alaska and fished on the Mulchatna and experienced what the king is all about, that was a whole nother level of power and a whole nother level of wow for a freshwater species. What a perfect name for it, the king. And I knew it was special then. I knew I was in Alaska. I knew I was doing it. I knew I was living life when a lot of my friends back home were doing some humdrum job, making a buck here, but spending it all summer. So by the end of it, they didn't have zero. I'd come out with a fistful of dollars with an experience under my belt that nobody else could compare to. So there was a lot of things that just blew me away when I came to Alaska as an 18-year-old, and it kept me coming back year after year after year after year. I missed 2 years in the last, since 18 to 56. So those were summer opportunities that I had with school. But other than that, I've been here since 91 till present. So this is all I know. This is all I care to know. This is, as my daughter says, our true home. This is our home. And I feel blessed to call it our home.
Here's home. 10 by 12 wall tent.
47. Billy. I was a kid, fresh off the farm when I first went to Alaska. In the summer months between hunting seasons, I signed on to be a salmon fishing guide. I'd never casted a fly rod. I didn't know the difference between a king salmon and a kingfisher. I could barely tie a fisherman's knot, and one could argue if I really even knew how to fillet a fish. But I'll never forget my first day on the water guiding. John was pulled up on shore with his clients. He waved for us to join him. "The kings are stacked up in here," he yelled. No sooner did I beach the boat, and John was already teaching the clients the intricacies of casting for kings. I listened to every word. I'd yet to even catch a salmon for myself. Even as green as I was, I knew John called us over to teach me more than the guests. That is John Carlin. I went on to guide with John for 4 years. During that time, I came to love the river, the lifestyle, and eventually became a half-decent guide.
Hi to Grandpa and Grandma.
Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandpa.
We're on the Cockatoolie, and Joe and Billy are fly fishing, and I'm reading a book.
One of the many highlights on my tours on the Mulchatna was Ma and Pa Molls, taking a week off from milking cows and working the fields to experience Alaska.
Mama's got another one.
To this day, my dad jokes that in 50 years of marriage, he's never once been able to make my mom as excited as when she was fighting a king salmon.
Go around him, Dad. There you go. Ma, you make it look so easy.
Years later, John went on to buy the camp from Dennis Harms. We kept in contact, and each year the annual newsletter brought back great memories. Until one day I reached out and pitched the idea of filming a documentary about the Mulchatna Fish Camp. John and his wife Melissa agreed, so my team and I went to work and booked a week's worth of clients on our first ever Billy Molls hosted adventure, after which my 2 daughters would join me for a week of personal fishing. Months after the dates were set, John received gut-wrenching news. Our initial vision of the trip was swept away like a deadfall in a spring flood.
Good to see ya.
Great to finally make it.
Yeah. You landed.
Awesome. You guys. Oh. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you too.
Long time. Nice to see you again, Melissa.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Oh,
Great to be here.
yes.
So how many steps are here? I can't really remember.
49.
49? Well,
Yeah, we'll have the guys bring over your stuff. Yeah.
okay, very good.
Or if you need us.
Okay, we'll come grab some food here in a little bit. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's very much the same. Yeah, I love it. Pretty cozy. These are new. That's pretty first class. Very nice people. Nice young crew. And that's what Dennis said, that John had an exceptional crew, more loyal to him than his crew ever was. So he said, so John's doing something better. Said it's the hockey coach in him that's coming out. So we had like our guide tents. They maybe got the same ones. They always had tons of holes in them. So you just had to run mosquito coils all night long. You just breathe that stuff like it was oxygen.
Did you have the dirt floors back then too?
Oh yeah.
No wood floors. And you guys were grinding. Did you ever have it windy enough to where you had to land back on the lake and hike stuff in from back there?
I've heard about it.
God,
That's an old legend. I bet that is.
Yeah, John talks about it. Yeah, you put a 25 horse on your shoulder and you walk until the next. You can't carry it and hand it to the next guy, and that thing's a mile and a half away one way through the tundra. Built different back then.
Yeah.
Man.
Built dumber. That's the Mulchatna outfit I recall.
I picture that. I got to put that on my birthday list.
This is where I want my daughters to come for a real world education. I ain't bringing them up here for the fish. It's like, you just need to meet these people, see how they roll for a month and a half.
But I think before I get ahead of myself, number one is thank you. Thanks for traveling this effort, this distance, this long ways to get to this place all together at this moment in time to share this river all by ourselves for the most part is very unique and very special. To do it with Billy Molls, we've been putting this plan of attack and it's taken a couple years to put it into motion and fully get it put together. And it was put together prior to me knowing of health implications. And so that's what makes it even that much more special, is that we're enjoying something that's a very special week beyond just fishing in the wilderness. And that's why I invited some of my own personal friends and family to join you all, because I thought this was to be such a special week. And Billy's an old friend of mine, guiding friend, but has done an amazing thing with his career in his outdoor adventures, and has now taken a closer walk with Christ, I feel. And that's encouraging to everybody, including myself, especially during some of these times that we've had.
I think you'll find our crew is just top notch, and they're just good-hearted people all together. And I hope you get to know each one of them. And the kitchen crew, like John said, Brian is awesome, and the girls are, definitely right there at your beck and call. And the guides are they're hilarious. They're just good, hardworking guides, So you'll have a great time this week.
And enjoy tonight. I think we have a seafood dinner. Is that?
Absolutely. Halibut and crab.
Halibut and crab.
This was a full circle moment in life. It felt odd to be a guest in the camp, and to be playing host to 15 other anglers I'd never met before, all of whom came to the Mulchatna based on my recommendation, was quite humbling. There was some weight there, a sense of responsibility. This trip and the people involved reinforced the fact that I've felt God calling for me to step up in various leadership capacities in other branches of life. Selfishness seems to come naturally to me. Being a servant of others does not. Throughout the week, I was educated on how to lead and impact the lives of others. It requires one of John's greatest strengths: to get to know, serve, and love people where they're at, and worry about yourself less.
Good morning. We got coffee on, huh?
I remember from hunting camp, right?
It's pretty chocked full. It's got enough in there. It just hasn't quite taken yet.
Well, we got high overcast, a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of fog, very kingy weather, as John Carlin would say. And I think there's going to be some really big fish caught today. I just got a feeling. I feel it down on my knees. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good one for everybody.
Oh, it's a kingy day.
It's nice. It's nice, overcast, and foggy, and misty.
I like them.
All right, what's the secret of the day, John?
Getting out in the water and getting after it.
All right.
Mother Mulchatna will provide. Mix it up. Change your lures up a lot during the day, you know? If you're in an area that you've been catching fish and all of a sudden it kind of slows down, switch your lure color. And all of a sudden that same hole will activate again. Have a lovely day.
Here. Usain Bolt. We're the Usain Bolt of fishermen. Watch out.
I love it.
Have a good day. Well, you guys will. All right.
All right, Olsen crew, good luck. Have a great day, Kaito.
How far up you planning on taking us today?
We're gonna go through that little chute that we were on our way through, and there's a few holes up there, probably 15, 20 minutes higher at the most.
Well, right now we're transitioning. Main target right now is sockeyes, and if you incidentally catch a king along the way, you release it immediately. We have leopard spotted rainbow trout, which are beautiful, and a catch and release mandatory on them unless they're bleeders for shore lunch. Has enabled our trout fishery to really blossom, and we have some real nice, big, healthy, along with some epic sockeye runs. We've been getting over 1 million sockeyes running in the last 5 years, which has just bolstered the meal plan for those local fish, the grayling, the rainbows, the dollies. And we're also getting Arctic char now, so they could be after an Arctic char, which is a newer species that somewhat seems to have migrated down the west coast, I believe, and are now following the runs up the Nushagak. And they're amazing because they come in, they feed, and then they go back out to the salt to make that transition from salt to freshwater's amazing, and then go back to saltwater. And we're noticing the char following the runs. There are some pinks in the system, but not too many. That would be an incidental bonus if you could call them Mulchatna Grand Slam. And then we have pike. And none of it has been introduced. It's all natural. But out here, I tell them, you know, make sure you leave with a fly rod. Make sure you leave with an ultralight. Make sure you leave with a heavy or medium heavy rod. Bring the arsenal with you, because you never know what application. You might be at shore lunch and you might want to pick up the fly rod and just flip it out for some grayling and some shallow water. You might want to pick up your ultralights when it gets sunny and the king bite slows down, and go for some trout and grayling and have that ultralight there. And then in the afternoon bite picks up, maybe do some more drifting or casting for some bigger fish with your medium heavy. So you have a variety of rods and to be able to fish that variety. So that's what they're after. A variety of catches, what I coach them up to go for. The guides all know that. They want to produce fish.
What started with that tiny little video camera, and that's still the camera that I use. One day we were trying to put these films together and we realized we were trying to make our films like the films that everybody else had made. But I can't do that. I don't have a cameraman. I don't have good cinematography. And then I realized, rather than try to be like everybody else and compete with them, these guys that have cameramen, hundreds of thousands of dollars of budgets, but what I found was a niche. And my niche is this. What do I have that nobody else has? What can I do better than anybody else? And that's this. I've got 25 years in the wilderness. I've been on 40 Dall sheep hunts, 50 brown bear hunts, way too many caribou hunts to count, moose hunts, you name it. I've been on all those. Focus on what we have. And if you have something that nobody else has, and then you can design your business, your brand, your service around that, who's your competition?
Just pinch his barb. I don't want him catching more fish than me anyways. Jack pine on king on.
Real nice king, dude.
I'm supposed to be filming.
Oh yeah. See that black tail?
Yeah.
That's a good fish there.
Heck.
Oh yeah. King on.
Let's go. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
This is legit.
Right after the snag.
Literally. Twice. No!
You had it tight too.
I did. Oh no. Dang.
Let's catch him again.
Do you think I did something wrong? It felt tight the whole time. I had the drag. I mean, you heard the drag going. Shoot.
And you had a decent hook set. I mean.
Yeah, no, I set the hook when I felt it. I definitely set the hook.
Well, probably won't be the last one you lose. Should we try her from the top?
That was a pretty good one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good fish. Yeah. Yeah, that was.
Having flashbacks in California.
25-pound fish, probably. Maybe more.
Oh well, get him next time.
One of the few pieces of wisdom that Joe Molls ever gave me: if that's the worst thing that happens in your life, you'll be doing pretty good.
Or today, even. That's right.
Spot it like right in here, something angry. The cameraman's on fire. Really silver. Oh yeah. Boy, that thing's got a lot of life.
Yeah, it does.
That thing's not nearly as red as the last one.
No.
And just remember, if he goes under the boat, whoa, yeah, baby.
Nice one.
If it goes around the boat, you might have to maneuver around.
Yep.
Well, we definitely found a hole.
Yeah, we did.
What was that, 3 or 4 drifts and 3 fish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good now. You ain't gonna hit any fish.
Alright, you let me know when you're ready and I'll turn her towards you.
Just let her get in head first, swing her in, and as soon as she's in that net, just release the tension.
Ready?
I think what makes this fishery unique and what is so special is that the variety of salmon that return some on 2-year cycles when they are coming from the ocean, running up the river, giving the ultimate sacrifice of their life to spawn, and die so that they can actually feed their young, which will feed on the carcasses that are caught up in the sticks. So, I mean, the ultimate sacrifice is you're letting them feed off of your body, you're dying for them, and you're giving them life off of your body. And as they travel back down the river, they're feeding their way back down on all sorts of different things. But they're hitting the ocean as very small fish, and they've already faced a ton of challenges just getting to the ocean. And then they go out in the ocean and they avoid whatever they need to avoid predator-wise. And they avoid all these obstacles and get this calling within them. The king, 7 years sometimes. The big ones take 6 good hard years of feed in the ocean to put on the nutrients and the size to come back and give the big eggs, the strong genetics. And some return on average 4 to 5 years coming back. The sockeye is a couple years. And so you have all these different species coming up at different times. So you can't guarantee peaks and troughs. It's all kind of intertwined and intermixed. And so those returning fish come through all these obstacles to repeat what their parents did. And they get just this minute time in the river to have all this transformation in their body, to go through all the nutrients going into one thing, to produce a healthy egg, to sustain the run, and in many ways sustain us. For half of the world's fish come from Bristol Bay, salmon, and sockeye in particular. And so if anybody were to enjoy salmon anywhere in the world at their local markets, the health of this tributary here on the Mulchatna, the health of the upper Nushagak, and all the tributaries that flow into it, if they knew where it came from and how it came, they'd understand we need to protect this resource. And in ways they are. This year they incorporated catch and release on king salmon. Our numbers are dwindling, and due to a number of reasons, but in the ocean is part of the reason. And so we have to react appropriately for that. And so the sport fisherman has given up the right to keep them. The warming of Bristol Bay favors the sockeye, and it puts more strain and stress on the king. But I pray that us releasing all these big kings that are still coming through and keeping this whole run going, that we're doing our part in trying to preserve one of the greatest runs on earth. And our guides understand that. Guests take a little more convincing when they come in and they're hoping to take some kings. They are good eating, but a sockeye is delicious. So you can't beat going home with a bunch of sockeyes in your cooler and giving back the river what it needs, the kings.
Well, it was a good call, Kaito, to stay and try it.
I'm glad. Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful net.
Got pliers on you?
I do.
Cool. The fishing was slow. The mood in camp was somber. Every notion of our production plans was burned up quicker than our fishless shore lunch fire. I shared with my producer, Jeremiah. It seemed as though we ought to be doing morning devotionals and praying for John. He agreed. And we were all but certain every client on the trip was a Christian. But still, fear got the best of me, and I held back. Sitting by the campfire that night, I was waffling like a cartoon character with a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other. Thankfully, Gary from Texas had the courage to speak out.
I've been waiting for John and Melissa to both be gone. Have you thought about something particular that we might as a group be able to do for, a service of sorts that may not be the right word, but something that would be where he would be the center of what was going on, in which we could lift him up.
Like everybody maybe pray for him?
Well, it could happen in lots of ways. Some people feel like they need to lay hands on some folks. Some I know other folks that turns them off and don't want to encourage anything or recommend anything that's going to bother anybody. But there's no question but what he needs it. And there's also no question that God listens to the prayers of his people. I would feel like I really failed to do my part if we ended up leaving here next week and it didn't happen. And you're sitting there saying that you had some feelings, I've had some feelings. So, sometimes God puts a little seed there, then you got to do something with it. So I'm saying, let's do something with it. Of all the places in the world that a group like this could come together and do what we're talking about, this spot was the spot that would be most meaningful to him.
I love this fish camp.
Tim's like what I walk into.
What's
going on?
Fish camp before, but why I love this fish camp.
Every person agreed, and new life blossomed in camp. Guards were let down, stories and testimonies flowed from there. The Mulchatna Fish Camp was unified. We were one body. There were no doubts. We were called to this river to pray for, serve, and love John.
Some of you know this, some of you don't. Johnny grew up with the nickname Fuzzy Grubber. So you can imagine this, young John, and that's what he was being called his whole life when I was growing up. And so you guys, I don't know if you know that about John or you knew that nickname, but it was a great nickname. And I think that was something your dad used for fishing or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we were in Canada and I jumped out of my sleeping bag and everybody was mad at me for holding the whole show up. And I had changed into my clothes and I was totally prepared. And I had bought this lure called a fuzzy grub when they first came out, and they all thought it was a dumb lure and a dumb purchase, and they'd kind of given me grief about it. Well, that ended up being the best walleye jig of them all. And I was put on my little fuzzy grub, and I was just like one after the next, just cranking them in. And soon the joke was on them about the fuzzy grub, but the funny part was why it stuck was they were all, come on, come on, come on, and I opened up my sleeping bag and I jumped off the top bunk and I was all ready and I yelled out, super fuzzy. And so then the fuzzy grubber or fuzzy or whatever stuck after that. And I was real young, and one of those moments in the fishing trip and the fuzzy grub worked, so it even stuck more. But we used to do a lot of Canadian flying fishing trips where it was very humble setting, and you'd flip the boats over and it was the ice chest that you'd chisel the ice block out of the sod house and put it in the ice in the cooler for the week that you stayed, and just simplicity. And that, I think, those fly-in trips is what instilled me to do this for a livelihood, and just
knowing it's how special it is to go into a place and kind of help create what there isn't a lot of, and then create a special something and have a great experience and then leave. And that's kind of how we do it here on the river. We come out here for a month, we erect everything and work very, very hard to make sure everything looks very nice for you, and haul a bunch of rock to gravel out everything and to make sure everything is nice so that we can be proud of our efforts, so that you guys are happy when you come. And when we hear you come in and say, it's so comfortable and we're glamping and it's so nice and the place looks sharp, they just are glowing inside of themselves and are just beaming of their accomplishments. And so I think doing those small trips to Canada and being the fuzzy grub is what set me up to be an outfitter and a good kind of somebody that can relate to the guides. A relatable person. And I also give nicknames and stuff like my dad did too. The guys all have nicknames, and it's awesome. Been a great growing up, and the outdoors has been a big part of it. And that's why I'm so blessed and feel so lucky to have everybody here, including our guides and you, all sharing in this experience together. That it makes all the work and the hard work worth it when you guys are all here having fun. So we appreciate that attitude that you've brought to our camp this week. Good luck today. Have fun. Enjoy. All right.
There's a lot of challenges that come with working here, but really it's all worth it. I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, doing what I love. Not much more you can ask for.
When it comes down to like why I like being a guide, or what I love about being a guide, is it's just the best job on earth. I've never felt more fulfilled in a position, and I've never like been able to experience something so cool. And it's such a, I mean, unbelievable area to be able to go and just take people fishing and get paid for it. I mean, I'd do it for 3 hots and a cot. I don't need to be paid for it. I mean, it's not like the money's anything crazy to begin with, but that's not what it's about. It's about the experience. It's about the nature. It's about, you know, the fish you get to encounter and the people you get to meet, because what you get and experience up here is worth its weight in gold. And then obviously the big dog, John, you know, I look up to him the most. That's why I wear the bandana and the rainbow trout buff every day, is because it's some stuff that he would wear back when he was guiding. So I don't know, a little bit of superstition, but I feel like if I can maybe bring a little bit of his luck out here, I mean, because that guy pretty much has gills. He's so fishy. Nobody else has fished this river more than him, so he knows it like the back of his hand.
You can tell he's a coach because he works so well with all of these, you know, let's just say kids that are a lot younger than him, you know, him and Melissa. So that's very inspiring, and the respect that they have for him is just unbelievable. It's every single one of the guides that I've spoke to, you know, has it's just nothing but the utmost respect, and I think they all feel really bonded to this place, and quite frankly, indebted to the opportunity to be able to come up here. They've expressed that, so he clearly has captured some incredible talent, just great people to be at this camp.
Just the Carlins as a whole, like their generosity, their family inclusiveness is like what really like brings me back, just like year after year. And like what John does to this place, and like how much he cares about it, just the amount of passion that he has. It's kind of just like gets into you. John's like done so much. I mean, John was the guy that like taught me how to fly fish, and like a huge impact in my life. And just like the lessons that he's taught me from like knowing nothing.
You want to bite his head off?
Definitely yelled at me plenty of times. But just like his like ability to like forgive you and like know that you're like trying to grow as a person, and like really fostering that like really like resonates really well.
Try to never take any day for granted, because it's just so special up here, and something that's you don't get in too many places anymore, and especially since it's like the last great king run left in the world essentially too. Like, there's a lot of people that are a heck of a lot more qualified than me that should be out here chasing these fish around, but for some reason I'm lucky enough to do it, so thank God every day.
It's been cool to watch all these young people come up here and work during the summertime and experience what they experience.
I'm a hunter, an adventurer, and I'd like to fancy myself a storyteller. And I'm always looking for new places to explore and stories to tell. So if you're an outfitter or a hunter with a story to share, feel free to reach out to us. Whether you're looking to highlight your outfit, leave your legacy, share your testimony with the world, or all of the above, I've got guns, bows, cameras, and a crew that can write your book while you're living it. So just go to the description in this video, shoot us an email, and Lord willing, we'll meet you on the mountain someday.
Just the experience of each week, you know, whether it's the, you know, how we survive the torrential winds and rain, and, you know, and just the fishing stories that come out of it. But yeah, I outfitter's wife, that's the glory of it all. I'll have to consult with your wife. Yeah.
Everybody knows that with something special and you meet somebody and they're happy and they've found some sort of their own perceived success in life. Their success, their happiness comes from one source, and it's the support and the love of having a wife like Melissa. I could not have done this without her. She's just strong and focused and has compassion and love in the heart and is guided by that. And I think that's important, that you have a good heart. Mm-hmm. And she's got a great heart, and most truly enjoy their time spent with her. Like, I'm able to visit with everybody out here and they instantly fall in love with her because she's genuine and she's compassionate and she cares about other people. And I think that strength in the being a realistic supporter of the whole situation, just behind the scenes, but up front, she's personable. And I think for us, it's made us as our union stronger. I think we've had to help each other during certain times, pull the rope the same direction. And that's, I think, a big part of what's been so supportive. And I have health issues, and she's been a rock. And so without her, I wouldn't be here right now. So.
You keep going about me.
She fogs at the camp too. Did I say that? She's an incredible fogger. She doesn't like bugs. The mosquitoes love her.
Yeah, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, she can fog. That's high
fog.
Quality. She's a great
Nobody
wood
wants
stacker.
to fog. I don't.
She can stack wood well and maintain fires. Yes, very good at that.
Good woodswoman.
Yep.
Not bad for a suburbia girl.
She came from the Kenai River a lot and fished the Kenai River a lot.
He never told me where he fished. We were friends for like a decade, for 10 years. And I knew he'd go out to the bush, you know, but he never told me what river it was. He was just very low-key about everything until, you know.
Till I was trying to woo you.
Yeah.
Divine intervention, whatever you may call it. But I was an older fella, not sure if I'd have a family, let alone a beautiful wife. And so when you're at an age when you're wondering, where's my path? Where's my family? And then you get it, and you share in something special. And our child was not supposed to happen. We were going to have to adopt. And I was told if we had an ectopic pregnancy again, that you're putting your wife's life at risk. And that's not smart and not a good husband. So we tried one last time and we had our child. And it was like a gift from God. And so that was special to share the raising of our daughter, because I knew that my wife's qualities were in my daughter and my qualities were in my daughter. And when we shake that all up, that we got to come out with something that's going to be a good person, that's got a level head, that knows how to love and be loved. And I think in this time that we're dealing with now, our love has, as a family, has gone to another level. And I think we all understand what's special.
Truly, you know, growing up in a suburbia big city, I never thought that I'd be as comfortable as I am out here, and just sharing this experience.
That's a big part of it. That's to finally be out here as a family.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be here doing this with you, thank God, without her though. I couldn't have made it through. I couldn't, even before this video, she was there supporting me. And like a fighter coming into the ring. And I've gone through a lot of rounds, but if I had not had her in my corner, I would have lost. That I know. So if there is not a greater sign of love, is when the chips are down and when you really need to count on somebody. They're there in spades. They're not just there, they're there to pick you up and dust you off and get you back going. Be there in the middle of the night when you're in a lot of pain, and waking up in the middle of the night and just rubbing a back to get you off your mind, off your pain, off of your tumor, to your back. And just the selfless love. I feel very blessed in a lot of different ways. And I think anybody that meets her would say, you're a lucky guy. You've got a good one. So the catch of my lifetime was my wife.
So I'm not just naturally gonna pull this outfit off. This is young John Carlin back in his prime, slaying sockeye on the cockatoolie, double dannered up with a white cutoff and some hippers. So I feel like I kind of created the ensemble decently well anyways. So maybe minus the cigarette for Carlin. This is gonna be a staple from now on to beat the heat.
This is how you drain your waders on a bad day? Yeah, I need a bigger incline to be honest.
I look forward to this every day.
I was praying, I was like, I hope he can get that, because that's a fish of a lifetime. But I honestly didn't think that we were going to get it, because he just, when we got into the main river, he just sank to the bottom. You couldn't see him at all. Stayed in the deep, and we just kept going with him, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, we got him in the net.
42-inch fish on the ultralight.
Don't want to bite my toes.
The size difference.
Kiss it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get it a
kiss
kiss.
it. Come on.
That deserves a kiss.
That deserves a kiss.
Oh,
All right.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah!
Celebration was had.
Oh yeah, both the guys, they stripped down, they jumped in the river to celebrate. And, oh yeah, they went for a quick little swim, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it was great.
That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it was just.
Oh, cool. That's what we're hoping for.
I told them that's a fish of a lifetime.
Yeah, fish of a lifetime, right there. That's a high 30-pound fish. That's like right there. That's right there at that a pound per inch after 45 inches. Okay. So it's 42 and 43 inches. You're talking about a high 30-pound fish easily, and beast. Big fish, big king trout. Yeah. Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
Diane, the question was, did she outfish you again today? And I said, that's the conundrum of my entire marriage.
He's got a broken line.
This is what she called all the fish. You notice who's carrying the equipment.
2 broken lines.
Yes, yeah, that was easily explained.
Jeez.
But no, we got out there and caught a sockeye. I said, man, biggest sockeye I've ever seen. She reels one in that was almost twice as long. It took a picture, so I had to squat down to make my fish look bigger. Then as we fished, it's like, oh, Diane got another one. Oh, Diane just broke off a 40-inch long, whatever they are. And then the guy, here's the deal. Poor old Jeff spent all of his time with her, coaching her, and I said, what about me? He said, well, you're not very good.
Have a wonderful day. It's another beautiful day. Billy, you can't be any more excited to have your kids coming in.
I'm pretty excited for them. Yeah, just
special.
the look on their eyes when they arrive.
Yeah,
That'll be good.
It'll be great for them to kind of take this whole experience in, because we had kind of programmed them to come in a little later.
Yeah.
And now that they are able to arrive a little earlier, that's going to make for a special opportunity for them to see all these nice people gathered for a very special reason, not just fishing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, great.
Sure.
Enjoy. We'll see you down at the landing to make sure everything runs smooth down there. All right.
Thanks, John.
Have a good day,
Thank
John.
you.
Oh, that's the one I was worried about, and they're waving, so that's a good sign.
Bubba! You made it! Good to see you. Was it scary?
No.
No? Hi, kitty cat. Good to see you. Oh, I missed you. How was Anchorage? Who's one of us smells? Probably me, huh? Yeah, imagine that. It's been hot.
My apprehension of the girls traveling without me was quelled as soon as I saw their smiles. After years seeing families come and go from the Mulchatna with full coolers and unforgettable memories, it was surreal to be partaking in such an experience with my very own daughters. This was by far the grandest adventure of their young lives. I knew this trip would open their eyes to a whole new world and give them a taste of what my life was like before them. Little did I know how quickly they would settle into rhythm with the wilderness, and what a stark impact the Mulchatna Fish Camp, the people, the river, the adventure, all of it would have on their lives. Headed up the Cockatoolie River. Haven't been there for nearly 20 years, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like.
This is what?
Try to catch some sockeye salmon. Fill the cooler, that's our objective today. The girls have some fun, see some new country. Gonna be a party. Captain Jeff at the helm. Ryan, quick release on the assists.
None of that today.
He's bringing his A game, he assures us.
He's lost.
Do you have that on film? There's gonna be no need to try to get a pretty release. Get the fish, bonk them.
Yeah, bonk it while it's in the net, Ryan.
We have your word.
They're calling me quick release because I can't hold on to a fish. Because they keep trying to get these pretty releases on video. And every time they put the camera on me, it just flops away. It's the fish, not me.
Debatable.
Ooh, that works.
Oh! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Nice save.
Hey, yo! Nice one, Dad.
Thank you, Frankie.
Deal.
Holy buckets.
Yeah, that's pretty. Ooh, look at the back on him.
Oh my god. Right in the mouth.
So now when I leave, they go to my spot. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, we can switch next time. Well, we can switch this time, I guess. If you want, I'll switch with you after this room. In the hole. It's in the hole. It's in the hole.
Yeah, shorten it up a little bit here. Nice shot. Oh, you need a new partner, Charlie.
About on top of the world there.
We're here for the adventure.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah! King salmon season! It's time to guide! Woo!
Fresh.
We're gonna have to catch more of them.
Go ahead, try that piece right there.
Looks really good. Really good.
Never in my life did I ever think I would go through a divorce or be part of a divorce. And it's something I still can't believe some days, but I am divorced. And it wasn't the path I was hoping to go down, but it was a path that, I realize, marriage and relationships, it takes two people. And, if there isn't two, then it's not really a relationship then. So you focus on the positives, not the hardships. I mean, if we all focused on everything bad that's happened in our life, it'd be a hard life, but I still look at how blessed I am. I mean, I'm in Alaska catching salmon right now. I mean, God's blessed me so much, even with that divorce. Like, I still feel like the most fortunate person in the world, and I really think God blessed me with a lot of grace towards my ex-wife. I mean, to this day, I'm not angry with her. I'm really sad about the decision she made, but yeah, I think I'll always, have a special place for her in my heart. So when this trip came up, I remember Chris giving me a call, and he said, "Hey, there's a couple slots. I think you should find somebody and go." And, I thought, I don't know, that's a lot of money, and hoed and hummed and went back and forth. And I talked to my dad and saw if he was interested, and he's like, "I'll go if you can't find anybody." And I said, well, I didn't tell him, but I'm like, I didn't look for anybody else, because I was like, like I had said earlier in my story, like, you don't know when you don't get another day with somebody. So I thought this would be a pretty special trip with my dad. And it was really special to have him with, and it really was nice to, just take some time for myself. And don't get me wrong, I love my kids, but I didn't realize it, but it had been, almost, I don't know, 15 years since I'd been to Alaska, and I didn't realize how much I missed it, because there was a streak where I think I went up here for every year for about 6 or 7 years, and it just gets in your blood. I mean, you just can't beat the quietness, and I mean, you can't get any closer to nature. I mean, it's just nice to unplug and step back and enjoy all of this. I mean, whoa, I wish I was staying another week.
Little teriyaki chicken tonight. Those are going in only the best Alaskan birds. Brian Cloy, I'm the camp chef up here. 4th year doing it. I've been cooking for probably 30 years at least. Done a number of other things, but I keep going back to making people food. I think I grew up with a lot of southern women, aunts, grandmothers, always cooking. Just always associated food with joy, being happy. So it's nice to do that for other people. And I like making people happy. Started off as a teenager, probably was an easy way to meet girls too. At a restaurant, I was usually the only white guy in the back, so stuck out like a sore thumb. Came up here the first time, was petrified because I'm a flatlander for sure. I thought bears were going to come out of everywhere, but after that year I just said I would never come back, and then it's been 4 times now that I've said that and I've come back here. But it's mainly the people that bring me back. All the seeing these kids do all they go through, and the ones that come back, it just gives me hope for the future of this planet. And of course, Melissa and John and Ken, I love their family. They've just, it seems like I've known them forever, and it really hasn't been that long. Great people. When I got the call, nothing that was gonna stop me from getting out here this year. Happy to do it. And I usually take care of all the proteins and sides. The girls, we got some awesome girls this year. Mason, McKenna, Hazel, Leah. They do all the desserts for me. You know, they take care of the dishes, they clean the tents. They do a lot. I probably have the easiest gig here, to be honest. Don't make anybody sick. That's my main priority. And if it's tasty, that's a bonus too. So, it happens very fast once a clients start rolling in. Boom, it's gone. It's over.
I'm sorry, I have to wash the rice dish.
Just stay calm, Kenna. Have fun. This is one classy way of washing dishes. Let me tell ya, some classy bush broads up in here. Oh, careful! Sharp knife.
Yeah, this place is special to me. I wrote my college essay on working here, and it worked, so that's good.
At 4:30 a.m.
Be here at 5.
We have to be at the kitchen at 5.
Yeah.
And then when we get up here, we set the tables and
we sweep the paths. We make sure that all the clients and guests are up for dinner by going down the paths and just brekkie. We go down the paths and just make sure everybody's up and yell, "Hey, good morning, guys! Breakfast is served." And while you guys are gone, we usually just do this. We do some baking, clean the tents. Then we got some downtime, which is nice. We usually either sleep or like we go on hike. We go on a couple hikes.
Fish at the land.
Fish.
Bake cakes.
We do bake.
We make all the desserts that go in our lunch kits. Whatever else they need us to do.
Yeah, it's
Small
like
tasks.
really just a service position.
Yeah.
Whatever the client needs, we kind of take care of.
It's like a combination between hostess and like
housekeeper.
Oh.
And I have holes in my shoes. Oh, I didn't realize we were going that far. Okay.
It's done.
It's
not
done.
finished.
That's what we do.
If you didn't believe in God before this moment and you stood right here and watched that, it would have to do something to your heart. It's just got to. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's inconceivable to me that you can see God's creation here and not feel closer to God here than you would in San Antonio, Texas, with 3 million people in every which way and horns honking and all. But just Billy said something the other day where one of his former guide teacher folks had told him that, see that mountainside over there? That's the face of God looking back at you. I've never heard anybody say anything quite like that before, but it's true. You look out across these trees and there's the river, the grass on the banks there. Even the snags add to what's here, and the sandbar, the gravel bars. I never feel closer to God than I do when I'm out in a place like this. It's absolutely gorgeous.
What the guy said that got me the job up here was, this is a place like no place, and I didn't really understand it when I came up my first year and setting up camp and everything, and I was just kind of like, man, I'm doing all this work and setting this camp up, I don't see no fish yet, and then as soon as the wall of fish hit, it made everything so much worth it. Totally pushed the work out of my mind, didn't even care about how much work I had to do, the fishing and everything, and just seeing the resource that was out here made it completely worth it all to me. It was, it's definitely a place like no place, and it hooks you like no other place that you'll go to. It's awesome out here. Untouched, very untouched.
I had a friend, his name was the Disaster Man. That's what everybody called him. And for good reason. He was always in disasters, but he would never throw out a line without spitting on a lure first.
Sticking up out of the water. As soon as we get down beneath that, about 20 feet, I'm gonna have you guys cast up into that grass pond water.
You hear forever changed, it's a different experience. I will tell you, I can't even express it in words. It makes me want to cry. How it's made me appreciate just life in general. This has been an extremely special experience for me personally. Someone who's never been outdoor in this capacity. It's wild. I do feel changed.
What is it in particular that brings you back?
Oh, most people think it's just the fish, but it's honestly the crew. Being around John, being around Melissa. I love the fishing because it's unreal. The fishing's unreal here, but the people definitely, and the vibes of the camp definitely is what makes me come back every summer. I love it up here. John and Melissa have been a really big part in my life because when I was a little bit younger, I wasn't with my dad all the time growing up, so my mom kind of had a little bit rougher start. So when I got up here and was working for John at 17, I'd been with my dad as a single parent for going on 5-6 years, and I got up here and John and Melissa really helped kind of give me a lot of life advice and kind of helped me see stuff a little bit differently, kind of brought me back to being on the right path instead of trying to go mess off in life and go be young and dumb. And John was like, I came out here at 17 and 18 and fell in love with the place kind of like you are, and it just kind of, a lot of the stuff John was telling me about life just kind of hit really home and helped a lot. They're definitely a big part of, yeah, both of them are definitely big life mentors for me and have done a lot for me.
One thing I wanted to comment on is the wind chime. The wind chime it's anybody that's worked here or had a significant impact on the existence of this place. It's right on the path where everybody walks past. And everybody's heading out in the morning. And they're all walking down with their fishing poles in hand. And their little tackle box. And maybe a dry bag with their most important items. And they're all going past this wind chime. And it's sounding as they go by. And it's all those memories that all those people on that chime helped create and helped solidify this place and make this place what it is. And so we all gather around, the crew gather around and look at it and talk about some of the people on the chime so that they kind of know their background. Because I tell them, we're all here because somebody before you recommended you. And we're all here because these guests have called me. So we're all in this together. The guests were gracious enough to call us and have the interest so that I can then call you and show you that I have the interest in you and that I believe in you can do this job. And so when we're all doing it together and the guides are laughing at the dinner table with the hostesses and the chef is coming in and shouting out, "How's the food, boys?"
Everybody good in here?
And you have laughter in the camp, and you have the guests telling stories, and you have kids running through camp giggling, and you have older people acting like kids giggling, that it's nothing more special than having all that happiness and all this work and all this effort to get this all in the middle of nowhere and all set up and organized is all for a positive, awesome reason. We're all having fun enjoying it together. And if there isn't a greater gift back to me and Melissa and McKenna to be a part of that and experience that, I don't know what is. It's not a livelihood that we got into to become millionaires. And it's had its challenges. An outfitter's life is not all peaches and cream. It's a lot of hard work, but I wouldn't have changed a thing. And I feel blessed and honored to have carried that torch. And hopefully amongst the crew, we have the next who will carry the torch.
Bubba, you want to reel this sucker in? Now this is a legit king. You don't want to reel it in? It'll be half yours, half mine. Oh, Bubba, you were fishing that hole. I'm sorry to have caught it almost. So like as soon as he turns his head, right? Now I'll get him to turn his head back. He'll go right into the net. And I'll point the rod right at him. Right like that.
Yeah! There's a real king.
We worked all day for that fish. 5 of us.
Well done, Billy.
Well, it was just my lucky lure. Bubba, you were hammering that spot too. Charlie's been saying all week, all I want's one king. And she was casting all day for it. So the king salmon are hard to come by this year, but we got one here. Charlie's been casting for him. Frankie's been slamming the char. But this one's a little over 27 inches.
Bubba, you're gonna get one of these, yeah.
I'm gonna get 30.
Frankie, you gonna get one? If it's meant to be, it'll happen, right?
Preach. Yeah. I know what it feels like.
Well, you saw it though.
Go catch him, Trevor.
All right, Bubba, that's the spot right out there. Joe said there was a king in here. He was right. Frankie's pretty easy come, easy go for everything in life, including fishing. Sometimes she's off skipping rocks, you know, gathering firewood, hitting sticks together. She would just dangle an egg bead and catch little grayling all day long, and she doesn't care. But Charlie, from the moment she's got here, she said, I want to catch one big fish. I don't care how many I catch. I just want one big king salmon. And a couple of times, some guys we've offered to hand her a rod. She's like, no, I'm gonna catch it myself. And she has been fishing as diligently and as hard as anybody from start to finish every single day. And she's caught a bunch of jacks and rainbows and stuff. As Frankie said, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Fish on.
Good girl.
It's the blue.
There you go.
Yeah.
Keep your rod high.
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. Oh my gosh.
Just keep it in the water. Keep it in the water. Keep it in the water. Go down. Stick your rod down. Don't let it hit the boat. There it is! Good job!
Oh my god. I was like, oh.
There it is! Woo! That's the one you've been fishing for all week.
What if it's exactly? I was like,
There it is.
it was the blue.
Thor's outdoors. Nice, thank you. Charlie, how many casts do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Hundreds for sure.
Yeah.
Hundreds to get your king salmon. There's bigger ones out here, but this is the biggest one you've caught, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just under 30 inches, and they get like over 40, but I'm proud of you for sticking with it. You kept after it, and you made it happen. And Kitty's trying to catch shore lunch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thor. Thor
Yeah,
found the
thank
hole,
you.
and he discovered it was a blue. Blue was the color.
Yep.
Let the hand off the belly. Keep your hand on the tail. Drop them in. Okay. Now just kind of hold him. There you go. Let him swim away.
That's hard because my arms are short, so I
Yeah.
can't like. Woo!
Charlie, way to go! You got him. How many days did that take you?
How many days have we been here?
5 or 6?
Since 6.
I'm proud of you, baby. Good job. What was your first thought?
My first thought was, hopefully I got him good, so he doesn't come out, you know?
Yeah. You didn't think it was a snag? Did you know it was a fish right away?
No. Well, I don't remember.
Ah.
I don't know.
Thus the saying, one sows and another reaps is true. I sent you to reap what you have not worked for. Others have done the hard work, and you have reaped the benefits of their labor. Being fishers of men, and I think that's pretty fitting being at a fishing lodge as well, but don't be afraid to plant the seed wherever you are, and you never know what that's going to turn into. You know, there's other parables that you could keep going with on the soil and the weeds and what happens when you plant those seeds, but I think just kind of paving the way for planting the seed and hoping something comes of that, and not expecting to see a return, but knowing that you did what you were supposed to and obey is just something that kind of stuck out to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
It's my first season with ATFS. But I've raft guided the last 3 summers in Hell's Canyon. So I guess this is my 4th season guiding in the outdoor industry. Just getting people to connect with nature and taking them to kind of wild, remote places. And I think if people don't realize that these places exist or they don't have any connections or memories to it, they won't be inclined to protect them. And so I think the more people we can get in the outdoors, the more people will think about it and care about it, and the more land and public lands really we can save.
See about 3 or 4 jacks in there. 25 years ago when I was here, if we caught 20 king salmon in a day, you'd catch like 15, 16 adults and 2 or 3, maybe 4 little jacks like that. Now it's kind of reverse. If you catch 20 kings, they're going to be 15 jacks and 4 or 5 big adult mature breeding fish. And things are changing. Our modern world is putting a lot of pressure and stresses on the natural world. And of course, as hunters, fishermen, people that enjoy the outdoors, we want to preserve this. But there's definitely a lot of extenuating circumstances and pressures against the fishing ecosystems that I'm not by far from an expert on. I know a little bit about it, but I don't understand the hows and the whys. But the fact is that this river is changing, but the wilderness immersion and the wilderness experience is very much alive. But obviously, everyone should want to protect this. I mean, this is a huge food resource for us. To just see how much it's changed in 25 years, I don't know if I want to use the word alarming, but it's certainly very easy to see.
There's actually right now the federal government's actually thinking about putting king salmon on the endangered species list, which would completely alter how king salmon are managed. It would take it out of the state's hands and be federally managed. Be very restrictive. Yeah, it'd be very restrictive. The Mulchatna Nushagak was really one of the last ones where it was like, okay, hey, we've still got something going strong, and then you get to a year like this and it's restricted, right? Catch and release only, no retention. NOAA is supposed to have observers, and there's only a certain amount that are required, and there's all kinds of speculation as to how accurate those observations really are and if money's at play.
Now, out in the ocean, what's interesting is pollock, which is where McDonald's gets their fish from, has huge contracts. Pollock unfortunately live in the same thermocline in the wintertime as the king does. So the bycatch on the king salmon is 150, 200,000 for just this river system alone. So if all those fish were going back into the ocean and coming back up in this river, I would venture to say that we'd still be having 100,000 plus runs yearly. But because the pollock industry has become such a big industry and the kings are in such a bycatch situation, caught up, and they're just pitched over the rail because the commercial trawlers are required to get rid of their catch that they're not targeting the target species, and they're penalized for it, but they just pay out the penalty because they're making so much money on the other side that it doesn't matter. And so unfortunately the kings have kind of fallen into this sad trap of being in an area where a really popular fish for a huge part of the population on the other side love to eat.
I know at one time the APA, which is the At-Sea Processors Association, they had 16 vessels in their fleet. I mean, those are like processing vessels too. So they have, huge trawl nets almost a mile long that they drag and pretty much scoop up everything in its path, and then they process them and box them and freeze them all on board of that's like the size of a small cruise ship, with 60 people working on it, and they do some damage. Yeah, they do some damage for sure.
As long as they can carry on some respectful attitude there in the ocean, we'll have salmon running up in the rivers for many years to come. And I think they understand that you need the fish to get up the river to spawn, to procreate, so that they can then fish them in the seas again.
So there's only so much food source. Biomass is reducing. You see lower herring numbers, and Sitka rosac herring fisheries been struggling as well at times. And it's just kind of weird because you see silvers, kings, chums, all those numbers kind of going down, and then the one salmon that is doing well are the sockeye, but they have kind of a different dietary intake than all the other salmon, and are obviously doing a little better with this. But yeah, it's a pretty big problem, and in my lifetime, I've seen almost the complete demise. I mean, this is part of the reason I wanted to come on this trip. Is like, okay, man, Mulchatna, Nushagak district, like one of the last areas where I can confidently say, like, I can go catch some kings and get into some fish, and yeah, it's just sad.
Fish and Game will be the first to say, after many, many calls, but not the first, I would say, but the last to say, is that you have to remember, sport fishermen, that this fishery is managed for the sockeye salmon. And that's commercially, the sockeye salmon creates so much money by the processors and all the fishermen and all these villages that depend on it, that they have lobbyists. And he said, every 10 people that bang on my door, 9 are for commercial fishermen and 1 is for sport. And he said their voice is strong. I listened to some of the advisory committee during the winter sessions in Dillingham. I'll sit in and listen to their committee meeting, and it's made up comprised of mainly commercial fishermen, a biologist who kind of somewhat represents the sport fishermen, and really very little sport voice. They wanted to extend their nets by 300 feet. The biologist brought up, what has anybody thought of the bycatch, the extra kill that will happen on the king salmon by putting out this extra net? And I was real attuned to how the reaction would be, and I thought maybe a vibrant discussion of what might transpire there. Not at all. It was a low murmur of some chuckles and a disheartening overall feeling for me, like we are so misrepresented for the sport fishermen, and the voice for the king is so lacking. It's sad. The poor biologist was fighting for us, but was like the only one in the room. I understand the lack of voice because, like, me and Melissa went to the board, and we each get 3 minutes to talk. That's what they have to allow for you. And we did our 6 minutes in stance for sport fishermen and our area in the upper Nushagak and Mulchatna area, and bringing up some valid points that we thought were supporting our
and it
sport
worked.
fishing. And it did. They had
made a little impact, but they were
5-1 they voted.
They had no idea.
They had no idea who was up here. They thought there was 5 lodges up here with multiple planes and all this operation just hammering on the king salmon on their spawning grounds.
Oh.
And I was like, we are the farthest thing away from that.
I'm not very good.
Oh, that's money.
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 Money. Short all day.
I'm making Thor's drum kit. I don't know if anybody knows anything about this guy named Thor. First name, full name Thor. He is one of the, if not the best bush drummers you will ever see in your life. And this is how his drum kits look all the time. Just random pieces of stuff that we've secured for him.
I love you when you're singing that song. I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong.
started today with, I had a meeting and I'm going to have to fly out to have some scans done, and just to make sure that things aren't progressing beyond what they want to happen. And so in the meeting, I said, we've had a lot of good groups out here, and we can say that this is, I think, one of the best, if not the best, that's gotten along together, that's worked hard together from day one, that's supported each other, that are still joking and laughing in the last day of guiding for this section. Get out there and keep digging like I always do, and keep working hard. The work ethic has been unbelievable, and I just appreciate that they understand that I'm going through some issues, and if I ever needed to be lifted up and dusted off, and maybe supported beyond what I've asked of my crews in the past to support me on. That right there is what I'm so thankful for them.
Like I said, I do not see John as just a boss. I see him as a good friend of mine too, and I love John. Yeah, he's my boss, but I mean, that's not even close to all he is to me or any of the other guides.
Our new guides that came up this year all had a background and love of fishing, and some in the industry because they were a little older, and some young, but just had that pure passion that I knew I had, or that I knew like Billy had, that I knew any guides that came up here that were worth their salt had in them, just inherently in them. And I had fished with them here before, and I saw him as a young angler coming through with his father, who's a friend of mine, and he had this incredible passion, and he was incredibly fishy. And so I even asked him to come up the year before, and he said, I'm 17. I said, I thought you were 18 already. Can't take you till you're 18. Although my lead guide, Jeff, came up when he was 17 and told me he was 18. Stinker. But I love that man, as I love them all. And I've expressed that to him because I've been going through what I've been going through. And I don't think prior to that I would have been as open and vulnerable. And I think being open and vulnerable is actually a good thing. It's not taught along the way. It's just something that's figured out. But I think when they see your vulnerability, they see that you're opening up genuinely. And when you open your heart to somebody, how can they not take you in? So I say thank you to the crew for letting me open my heart, and them opening their heart and supporting me. And that probably is part of the ingredients that made this year that much more special, and made this group so special. And I can't thank them enough. And I think that's what made, as I told them today, 100% of the people that came through this place had an experience they will not forget.
John's selflessness and his just how caring he is about all his staff. And it's funny because I was out the other day with Kevin and Brad, and we were talking about what it takes to run a good business, and I started talking about how John emphasized, when he hired me, because I was talking to him about how, maybe I'm not qualified for this position since I'd never even caught a salmon before I came up here and was a salmon guide, ironically. But he said, don't worry about that. I hire good hearts, not good guides. The fish will come to you. And and when we were talking about that, it was crazy because it just kind of like threw me back to May 4th, 2014, my confirmation. And I was up in front of 500 people or whatever reading my verse for my confirmation. It was Luke chapter 5 verse 4. And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, cast your nets out into the deep and let your nets down for a catch. And this is a good verse because it teaches us to be fishers of men. I can't think of a person that embodies being a fisher of men more than John Carlin, and the amount of young men and women's lives that he has touched out here and the dreams he's made come true. He's had such an effect on so many people. He really embodies that and is nothing more than a fisher of man. And yeah, he's one of the greatest men I ever met in my life, hands down. And being able to work with him and know him and get to know his family and just how much they've taken me in as like one of their own, it feels like, yeah, it's pretty special.
We are supposed to pray. And I guess some of what I'm saying is, regardless of what the end result of all this is, and like Jesus in the garden, not my will be done, but thy will be done. To keep that in our heads and in our hearts. You pray with all of your might and with absolute faith that God will answer these prayers. But ultimately, as Jesus said, it's not our will, but thy will be done. And we don't know anything that happens beyond right this second. God does. So whatever the result of all this is, we just have to trust that you don't have to trust that he's in control. He is in control. But, and I told John yesterday, when he said maybe God would intervene, I took him, I put a hand on his shoulder and said, no, he will. He absolutely will. Looked him in the eyes with absolute certainty and faith and confidence in my heart that it would happen. Because like you say, if he can part the Red Sea, he can take care of some tumors and growths and pancreatic cancer. That's nothing. He just don't, and it's gone. But it also has to be, from our perspective, that our heart's desire, but ultimately God's will. And I just bring that up because sometimes the unbelievers or non-believers, if they're around and we're talking about maybe see something like this happen and see all these Christian guys, if you're not a believer, they're going to look at them. All these Christian guys are up there praying to a non-existent Lord, and nothing happened. Well, no one in this room should feel like it was a wasted effort or disappointed, no matter what happens.
The greatest among you is the servant of all. John has served every person here in various capacities. And we're all here because we love you, and we want this to be a time of peace and mercy and love for you. And I would just like to lead us in prayer and just to speak truth over you and your life and the fight that you're enduring and for your family, that I know God can heal you. Many of us here know God can heal you. God's got a plan and a purpose in this, and we don't know what it is, but I see Him working in this circumstance, and that He's going to be glorified in it. Because this is, what did Paul say, that to live is Christ, to die is gain. That whatever, you know, as believers, we know that we're promised something greater than this, but we're here because He's got a job for us to do. And what we're called to do as believers is to lift each other up. And I know many of most all of the clients here know that they were brought here, yeah, to catch some salmon and to have fun, but also to be here with you. So I would love, John, if you're willing to, I'd just lay hands on you and anybody else, if you're willing to just pray for you. But Lord, I just praise you for this opportunity for us to be here today. I praise you for this man and his heart and all the lives that you've touched. Your word says that we reap what we sow. And this is a man that has sown into so many people, and right now he is reaping some of that love that he has cast out into the world. Lord, you are all powerful. You are everywhere. You can do anything. Lord, I just pray for healing for John's body. For Lord, with man, things are impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Lord, Romans 8:28 says that all things work for good to those who love you and are called according to your purpose. Just pray for healing. Lord, we believe, I know, I've seen you work miracles in my own life. I've seen you work miracles in others, and we know that you can heal this man. If that is your will, Lord, I just pray, we all pray united for healing for John's body, for strength, for restoration, for strength for Melissa. What a beautiful testimony Melissa has been as a wife, as a friend, as a mother, to just stand side by side and to be one flesh with John and just stand with him. And Lord, I just pray for each day. I pray for McKenna just for strength for her. And I pray that each one of us would be a servant and a brother and a loving friend to John, that you would be glorified. I know you will be glorified in this week and in these all the lives that are here today somehow. We just pray for a deeper love and faith in you, in your strength, and your power, Lord.
Lord, we know what the doctors say that's wrong with John, but we also know that you are omnipotent, omniscient. We pray, Lord, that you would heal him. We know that you have the power.
This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We got today, brother. We love you.
Right there was a special start. The most special start I've ever had.
Oh, praise the Lord.
35 odd years.
This is going to be the greatest season we've ever had out here that you've ever had, I believe.
You know, every day started out with some prayer and some devotional, and then, you know, there was just an openness about people's relationships with God, and God was at the forefront of it all, which is just so awesome because His creation's at the forefront of us right now, you know, and just being immersed in that. And yeah, a trip like this I do get emotional because I got choked up on the airplane because it's just, it's really special to be here. And then this whole week has exceeded my expectations with the caliber of people that are here. And I've had days where, I mean, if I'm being honest, the fishing to me was like, you know, it's fishing, and it's almost 80 degrees in Alaska, and it can be tough, and conditions aren't great, but it's all worth it still because of the people that were here and the experience, and this whole week's been really great. And I think a major reset for myself, when you spend enough time in nature and in wilderness, you get to form this connection with it, and you pick up on subtleties and intricacies, and you feel more a part of it. And I guess that's what I'll always kind of crave, is not feeling like I'm going out to the woods to just escape life, but able to share time in the wilderness or the outdoors, and especially with other believers and a strong group of guys, and just kind of feel a part of it. It's definitely a different level.
The times that we gathered around John were just, I mean, they bring tears to your eyes, and just your heart wells up in the presence of the Holy Spirit, who was there because of all the people who have him in their heart and who follow him.
Don't forget, guys, we are the only people in this world who will have an intimate knowledge and memory of these last several days.
The Lord encourages us to pray without ceasing. And I encourage all of us to pray without ceasing for this man's health, for his well-being, for his wife and his daughter, that they will get through this period with the comfort of the Holy Spirit and with the divine intervention of God. So we pray that God, you would touch this man.
One of the things that I've learned is just, when people in your circle are in need, whether that's from health issues or other issues happening in life, it's just super important for the people in their network to come alongside. And I know for me, there could have been lots of reasons why I wouldn't have come this week, and I think a lot of people might have felt the same way. And I know with 100% certainty that everybody that was here is leaving feeling just so blessed and so thankful that they came. And I think that's probably for me the coolest part about this whole week.
I came here not having expectations of any kind. I didn't know what to expect. But after the second night, I knew that this gathering was a divine appointment. I texted my wife. I said, I am just completely blown away. I mean, this is a divine appointment. We are having Bible study every morning, testimonies, and I'm speechless at what's going on, because it's just so beautiful. We talk about church, and that is church. When we get up there in the morning as a group and we share testimonies and we share the Word of God, that is church. As we come together as believers here, we have church. And it's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever done in my life is what we're doing here. Out on the river, just praising God, giving Him all the glory, and just coming, together for John and praying over him. And we just pray that, the Lord will restore his body, so that he'll just be full of health again, just for his family and friends. That's what we can hope for. And I think that's why we're brought together.
Well, it was a powerful week last week. And if I was ever built up, I was built up. That was powerful. And I've been putting my faith to the test. And it's steadfast. And I know that the only way I'll get through this is with Him. And if He touches me, it helps. I get carried away a little bit with my emotions, but I think it's because of my illness. I think has made me more vulnerable. I think back of the time when I didn't have cancer, and there was a simpler time. Didn't have to worry about stuff like that, nor did my family. And that's kind of been the hard part of it, is they've had to take this whole heap of stress onto them. And that's hard on me to watch that. And so it's been really hard on Melissa and really hard on McKenna. And that's why she's homeschooling. It's just too much. She wants to spend time with Dad. She, had some people in the industry tell me that, you got 3 months to 2 years to 20 years. Who knows what it's going to be, but it could very well be the other. And so, I think my daughter's gone down that path a little bit, so it's going to be dark. So I just want to try to create some great memories with her. And, have these times special. And God's plan will be done. So I hope He cares for 20, not 2. I want to walk my kid down the aisle too, just like you're going to get to do. Lord willing. Yep, Lord willing.
Doctors are wrong every day. God never is.
Yeah.
Just as nobody but John would have picked the fuzzy grub out from the tackle box, nobody understood why God chose King David. Isaiah 55 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." My prayer is that John will indeed one day walk McKenna down that aisle. But more important are the times he walked her down the steps of the Molchatna. The love and example John has shared with her throughout her life will guide her in all life's decisions, and also serve as the baseline by which all men will be measured. In addition to father and husband, John is a leader, a teacher, a brother, a friend, a father figure to many. Every member of the staff echoed how they return each year because of the people. I believe it's because John's motive is the people. He has a way of lovingly drawing everyone to be part of something bigger than themselves. And in this vulnerable season of life, John is doing more than training and leading guides. He is mentoring future husbands, fathers, leaders, and Christ followers. In the same way, through this painful season, Melissa is showing guides, cooks, hostesses, and guests alike how to be and what to look for in a wife. I find it uncanny how similar our own lives can be like that of the salmon. When we're born, we live for ourselves. Set on our own well-being, we travel with the current, and soon find ourselves roaming in an endless, open saltwater sea. We wander, we grow and learn, until one day, a restlessness, a yearning, a pull, an instinct becomes too much to deny, and we know we have to leave the vast ocean behind and follow that voice wherever it leads. All of a sudden, one day, we smell and taste fresh water once again. And a peace that surpasses all understanding consumes us. And we know we've found the right stream. From here we go determinedly, head first into the waterfalls and the gauntlet of bears. All the while we're swimming upstream, and our flesh is dying. But we know God will never leave us, nor forsake us. And ultimately, He has a purpose for us in this journey. So until we reach the headwaters, our mission, though often difficult, is simple. We are to remember God's truths, His love, and in whatever adversity, wilderness, wasteland, or watershed we find ourselves in, we are called to be a voice for the King. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you.